Today in Boccacci's Corner, we're going to look at arithmetic sequences and series. Now, if we're given the arithmetic sequence with a difference of d, remember we've been working on this, find the equation of the nth term. So we're eventually going to use this point slope formula. I'm just going to show you how this formula is developed. So if I have this to be x1, y1, and this just kind of generic as xy. We're going to substitute that back into our point slope formula and see how we can develop this equation. So this gives me an minus a1 is equal to the slope, which is going to be d, right? And then we have n minus 1, right? So again, this is our first term, and then our a sub 1, and then our kind of generic term, and our generic a sub n. Now, if I bring this to the other side, I have a sub 1 is equal to d times n minus 1. Oh, it's a plus. So all we're going to do is we're going to take this d and we're going to take it to the outside, and this is the formula we're going to be working with. So we're going to see how we can use this formula, and you're actually going to use this formula a lot in this chapter, so we want to make sure we understand all the parts and we get really good at using it. Okay, so our first question says find the 12th term. Okay, so in this case, we know n is going to be 12. We want the 12th term. And there's a few things we can get right from the data. I realize that I'm adding 7 every time, so that makes d is equal to 7. So if I want to know what the 12th term is, using this formula, I have a sub 12, because that's what I'm trying to find. A sub 1, the first term, is 9, plus the number of terms I want is 12, so I get 12 minus 1. And then my d value, how much am I changing every time? It's 7. So that gives me 9 plus 11 times 7. So my 12th term is going to be 86. Okay? Now, we can look at the data a little bit different depending on what information we're giving. So we want the indicated term, which in this case is a sub 20, is equal to, now our first term is 15. They tell us that, right? So I know that that is going to be, again, I'm using that formula up top. So that gives me 15 plus the number of terms is 20, right? So I have 20 minus 1. And they tell me right here that I'm going to subtract 8 every time. Okay, so that gives me 15 plus 19 times negative 8. So in the end, this is 15 minus 152. So my 20th term would be negative 137. Okay, now this time we're going to use our formula a little bit differently. This time we're asking for an equation for the nth term, the general kind of equation. So again, I'm going to rewrite the formula that we're using, and we're then just going to kind of fill in the blanks, like what do we know? Okay, so I have my difference here. I know I'm going down negative 18 every time. So I'm going down 18, or I'm adding negative 18. So that's my d value. I know my a sub 1 value, my first term is 5. So let's see what we can do from here. So a sub n, because I don't know how many terms, a sub 1 is going to be 5 plus, and then again, I don't know how many terms, n minus 1, quantity times negative 18. All right, so let's see what happens here. So I have a sub n is equal to 5 plus, that'll be minus 18n plus 18, right? Because this is actually multiplying. I'm going to combine my 5 and my 18, so my a sub n is equal to negative 18n plus 23. And that actually, it almost looks like slope-intercept form, right? It's really the same idea. All right, let's look at number 4. This one's slightly different, but again, let me get my formula set up. And again, as you get a little bit better at these, you'll be a little quicker. But let's see what I have. I have my 5th value. My a sub n is going to be 19. I don't have a sub 1, right? So that I don't have yet. And I know I have 5 values. So it's going to be 5 minus 1. And my d is going to be 6. So when I fill that in, I can find a sub 1 because I don't really have that yet. I'm going to need that to just write a general equation. So I'm going to use my math. And this gives me 4 times 6, which is 24. So a sub 1 is equal to -5. Now, with that information, I can write my equation. So a sub n is equal to a sub 1, which is -5, plus n minus 1 times 6, right? We know our d is 6. So I have a sub n is equal to -5 plus 6n minus 6. So a sub n is equal to 6n minus 11. Because again, if we go back, we were asked to find the equation, right? Kind of the general equation for that information. All right, let's keep going. Again, slightly different type of problem. Look, there's our formula again. There's our equation we need to use. If two terms in a sequence, remember two terms are any numbers, are given and they are not consecutive, so there's going to be numbers between them. The terms in between them we call is the arithmetic means. All right, so let's see how we're going to use that. Number 5 says find the arithmetic means between the sequence -8 and 22. And this time we could do it, however many values we want in between. But in this case, we already had the blank set up. So let me rewrite the formula, and then let's see how we're going to use that and what we need and what we don't know. All right, so I know my last term is 22, and I know my first term is -8. Okay. I know the number of terms I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 terms. So 6 minus 1 times D. Now this makes sense, right? I don't know how many, what I'm going to add or subtract every time. So D is my unknown, right? So let's kind of solve that, see what I get. -8 plus 5D. Bring that -8 to the other side, and D is equal to 6. Okay, so once I have d is to equal to 6, it's asking me to find the arithmetic mean. So it's asking me to find all the values in between. So now I'm all set. I really needed to find how many I'm going to add or subtract every time. So I get -2, add 6 more, I get 4, add 6 more, I get 10, and then I also get 16. And listen, this is a great way to double check, and I'm all set. So I do have my values. All right, number 6, again, a similar problem set up slightly different. Instead of giving me the blanks, it's telling me find the 5 arithmetic means between those numbers. So again, I'm going to go -18, and I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and my last value is 36. So in this case, how many values or how many terms do I have? Well, I have 7, which I'm going to need. Okay, so I have a sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Well, my last term is 36. My first term is -18. And again, I don't know what my d value. I'm not sure how much I'm going to add along the way. So I'm going to take plus 7 minus 1 times d, which is 36 is equal to -18 plus 6d. Add that 18 to the other side. 54 is equal to 6d. So my d value is going to be equal to 9. So let's check to see if that works. -18 plus 9 gives me -9. And then I go to 0. Add 9 again, add 9 again, add 9 again, and that works, okay? So these values in blue, they are my arithmetic means. Okay, thanks so much for stopping by today. You have a great day.